in D.C. is placed at Grant Park.
There's a group from Long Island, New York coming through. Artillery, Bob. Another color guard.
Wabash Valley Vietnam veterans.
Here from everywhere.
They are here from everywhere. We are able to go to Olive Park, however, and bring you another update from Larry Roderick, who has been out there at Olive Park all morning long. Larry?
Pat, we keep thinking the parade has come to an end. As one unit comes out of Navy Pier behind me, there is a brief moment when the street empties. Then another unit fills in where the one has gone before. We don't know when it's going to end. We have not seen a spectacle like this in the city, to my way of thinking, since the Pope made his visit here in 1979. Certainly none of the festivals citywide have approached what we are seeing here. It is too easy to get lost in the scope of it, because as you look at your television screen, or as I look down from my third-floor perch here, you see bits and pieces, one block at a time. They keep going past our camera location. It is uncountable. We don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people we have passed by our location here. This is a problem of generations. You have 70-year-old World War II vets, and you have babes in carriages whose fathers fought in Vietnam. It is a case where it is too easy to get lost in the wide shots and to forget the close-ups. A case in point. A few moments ago, a woman stepped out of the crowd, handed a single white rose to a veteran who had one arm. He kissed her on the cheek, turned, and handed that single white rose to a man who had no legs. That is what is happening here. It is continuing to pass our vantage point. We don't know when it will end. Back to you, Pat and Rick.
Well, thank you, Larry, for your perspective.
Certainly a people story, isn't it, Pat?
Indeed. As we said, this is Chicago's longest parade.
I was sitting here as Larry was saying they just keep coming. I keep wondering whether they don't circle through Grant Park, go back up to Navy Pier,
and come back again.
Come back through for another lap.
Well, the parade continues, everyone, and our coverage of the Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Parade continues from LaSalle in Washington after these messages.
Quite a parade it is, and it just keeps on coming. There are not a lot of bands. There are not a lot of floats. There are a lot of people, and that is exactly what this is all about.
And they seem to be making their own music, Rick. I don't know if these were some of the familiar drills that these gentlemen and women did in Vietnam, but it certainly seemed to be doing an a cappella quite well.
A lot of the drills that you're talking about, Pat, were done basically stateside, because once you got over there, there wasn't really a lot of time to do a lot of marching and saluting. That was kind of forgotten once you got there.
I guess not, Bob. This is quite an interesting looking group here. Men, women, black, white, every nationality. I think that's what makes this parade so important. This is for everybody.
If you were under fire over there, none of that mattered. And a lot of guys came back, and it still didn't matter, because they learned a lot about brotherhood under the gun.
I bet they did, Bob.
You bet.
Olive Park, the step-off point for this parade, is named after Milton Olive, a black man who threw himself on a live hand grenade to save the lives of 4 of his buddies. He won a Congressional Medal of Honor out of Vietnam as the result of having given his life for 4 of his comrades. And as you say, Bob and Pat, that's what it's all about. Color disappeared in Vietnam. We've been showing you the head end of the parade. Grant Park is the back end of it, where this will all end, and there will be festivities all weekend long. Incidentally, you're invited to come down and be a part of it if you'd like to. This is a free-for-all down in Grant Park. But as the parade moves toward Grant Park and begins to draw to a close at that end, certainly not where we are, Muriel Clare is there and has a report for us live. Muriel?
Rick and Pat, just as at the beginning of the parade, there's been a lot of embracing and close encounters here. I have with me several of the men who served in the Vietnam War. John, can you tell us, what did you do?
I was a paratrooper with 173rd Airborne Infantry. Shot up 3 times over there in '67.
And what about this parade? What has it meant to you?
I think it's great. It's finally we're welcoming these guys home and giving them the recognition that they've had coming for a long time. I think it's great, and I think it's great to see the brothers coming together and supporting each other and encouraging each other. You see a lot of POW flags making the public aware that we still got some over there. We need to go get them. Also, the Agent Orange thing is being brought out, and we're unifying, and by doing that, we're going to get these jobs done.
Yeah, and here we have another one, another Vietnam vet. Where did you serve, and what is your name?
My name is Juan Ortez, and I serve with the 5th Special Forces Group in Nha Trang, South Vietnam. It is an honor and a pleasure being here today among all my brothers and sisters celebrating a reunion that we've long waited for.
Have you seen any of your friends here?
I've been trying to look, but not so far. No, some of them are way before my time, but I'm still looking.
Why don't you bring him around here so he can talk to us? Okay. What is your name?
My name
Let's turn him to the camera so he can his face to be seen. Okay. Well, we have to stop for a minute here, Pat and Rick. If you can hear, we have a lot of troops marching by, and we're having difficulty hearing. Okay, what is your name?
My name is Bernie Ramey.
Okay, where did you serve?
I served down in Mekong Delta.
And you were injured over there.
Yes.
Okay, do you have any bitterness today?
No, I volunteered to go over there. I thought I was doing what was right at the time. And I still thought it was right at the time.
Well, welcome home. You feel like you're home now?
Yeah, I feel it's overdue, and it's now our dues have been paid.
Thank you. Rick and Pat, back to you.
Thank you very much, Muriel. A lot of activity has picked up here, and as we said, the public is invited to go to Grand Park. There will be activity there all day long. We pointed Governor Thompson out to you in the reviewing stand a little earlier. He has made his way over to us and is down with Christine Negroni. Christine?
Well, that last group of veterans that came by just kind of circled him. We were able to pull him away from those veterans. Governor Thompson, a lot of the veterans are saying today that this is great, the parade is great, but there's a lot of unsolved problems that the Vietnam vets still have to deal with, Agent Orange and things like that. What can be done beyond the parade to help solve some of the problems?
By remembering what this parade means. A lot of people have said today that this parade means that the nation is taking the Vietnam vets back. I think that's wrong. In fact, I think that's backwards. For a long time, people with questions and doubts and fears and controversy about the war took it out on the veterans, and that was wrong. Today, the veterans are telling us by marching in Chicago that they're taking us back. That's the way it should be, because we were the ones that were wrong. They were the ones who were right. When this parade is over, we've got to redouble our efforts to deal with the issues that arise whenever veterans come home from any kind of war. Jobs, education, retraining, help for families, help for those vets who can't work and their families, dealing with the aftermath of war. Agent Orange. Illinois, I'm proud to say, has been a leader in all of those areas, setting up special Vietnam programs long before other states did, bringing Vietnam veterans into state government, making a special effort to do that, recognizing the debt that we owed, providing scholarships, helping families. We've got to keep on doing that, and we will. I think the most important thing for Chicago today is for we Chicagoans to understand that only in Chicago could this parade have been done. This is the most American of all the cities of the nation. This is a national parade, the greatest ever. Only Chicago could have done it, and I think the people of the city ought to be very proud of the fact that it's being done here.
Thank you, Governor. I think some of the veterans want you back. Shake your hand. Thank you for stopping by. Governor Thompson says this is an American city, and that's why the parade is here. It may not be the last Vietnam Veterans Parade, as the organizer told us. We'll go back now to Rick and Pat.
Okay, Chris, thanks. The parade just keeps on coming. They are now arriving at Grant Park, as Muriel showed you a couple of minutes ago, and as Larry has shown us, they are still leaving Olive Park, so we've got a ways to go yet. Our coverage of Chicago's Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home Parade will continue after a break. Welcome back to LaSalle in Washington. We are live as the Chicago Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home Parade continues. Pat, it is not going to end anytime soon.
I doubt that, Rick. They said originally 3.5 hours, 2.8 miles long, and it certainly seems to have exceeded that. I can't see this parade ending in 3.5 hours from start time at 10 o'clock.
3.5 weeks, I don't think.
What did you say, Bob? 3.5 weeks?
I think it's going to go on for quite some time.
I'll be interested to see what the final crowd estimates are. I'm always a little bit leery of that because nobody stands around and counts noses right down to the last 10 or 12. But estimates ranged anywhere from 80,000 participants to 100 to 200,000 or more.
That's right, 1 million observers. That was the estimate of people lined up watching this parade. And who knows? All we know is there are certainly a lot of people out here.
And a lot of smiling faces, including those who are now arriving at Grant Park, the end point of this parade. Muriel Clare is there live with another report. Muriel?
Rick and Pat, there are a lot of people out here, but interesting enough, as one of the signs that we saw being carried in the parade said, there are no strangers here. There are just friends here. There's been a lot of reminiscing here today, too. There are those people who have been standing on the sideline who remember when Grant Park was the point of a lot of demonstrations by those people who were decrying the war and the government that supported it. But those are all memories today. Today there's just the thought of healing and what's going to happen tomorrow after the parade. Even as we talk, more troops, more groups are coming by. Flags are waving. Hawkers are on the side selling the American flag. It is indeed a celebration. And we will be here to watch it all as it unfolds. Back to you, Rick and Pat.
Thank you, Muriel. I think this is the time. Our reporters are doing a fantastic job here as well. Larry Roderick, Christina Grony, and Muriel Clare. Bob, I'm not exactly sure what we're looking at here.
This is a replica of,
yeah,
it's a replica of a tiger cage, what was used in Hanoi to keep our guys in.
One of the sad memories of Vietnam, but certainly a very real experience.
We ought to point out, too, we have mentioned several times during the course of this telecast the POW MIA question, and that very dramatically again brings home the point that there are 2,440 American servicemen for whom there's been no accounting. As this parade goes on, there are middle-level talks underway in Hanoi between a U.S. delegation and a delegation of the Vietnamese as they discuss that specific issue, that is, an accounting for those for whom there's been none to date. Larry Roderick at the head of the parade at Olive Park. And Larry, I gather they still keep coming, or have you seen the end of it?
Rick, it would appear that the wave upon wave has finally at least diminished. And from my vantage point, it looks like this contingent that you see in the middle of your screen now is the last one. But we have been fooled many times before. Hundreds of thousands have passed my location, and they just keep coming. It brings to mind what Governor Thompson mentioned just a few moments ago about this should not be an isolated instance, that we should keep the spirit of this parade, this day, alive. In my readings, I remember a prayer, if I can kind of paraphrase it, from Sir Francis Drake some 200 years ago. "O Lord, let us remember that it is not the beginning, but the continuing of a thing until it be completed, that yieldeth the true glory." Back to you, Pat and Rick.
Very nice thoughts from Larry Roderick, thoughts, of course, that are shared by all of us here today. I'm quite impressed by the crowd that is gathered here on LaSalle and Washington Street. The history, actually, that is seen right before our eyes. We have another tiger cage here. That says it all, Bob. That says something in itself, exactly what our guys experienced over there.
Pat, the parade is going to be going on for a while yet. We must not. We've got to get out of the way for Cubs baseball, a doubleheader. We thank you for joining us. This has been Chicago's Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home Parade. For Pat Harvey, veteran Bob Leonard, Muriel Clare, and Larry Roderick, I'm Rick Rosenthal. Thanks for joining us.
And Christina Grony. Goodbye, everybody.
Here comes